Duck the Great Western Engine. One morning, Percy was talking to Gordon and James in the engine shed. "The Fat Controller is getting a bigger engine to help me," said Percy proudly. "Nonsense," said Gordon. "We don't need a bigger engine. You just need to work more and cheddar less, said James. Percy sighed. "No one listens to me. They think I'm a silly little engine and order me around. I'll show them," but he didn't know how. Later that day, Percy brought some coaches to the station. "Hello, Percy," said the controller. "You look tired." "Yes, sir," replied Percy sadly. "I don't know if I'm standing on my dome or my wheels." "Cheer up, Percy," laughed the fat controller. "The new engine can do the work here alone. You can help Thomas and Toby build my new harbor." "Oh, thank you, sir," said Percy happily. "Mummy, Daddy, I am not recording, okay?" The next morning, arrived. He was a Great Western engine. "What's your name?" asked Sir Topham Hatt. "They say that," replied the engine. "I don't really, sir, but I like being called Duck." "Duck is then," said the fat controller. "Percy, come and show Duck around." Quietly doing his work. "Let's have some fun," they whispered. And they wished. Quack, quack. Percy was cross. Duck ignored them. Then the engines began to order him around. "Do they tell you to do things, Percy?" asked Duck. "Yes, I do, sir." "Yes, they do," replied Percy sadly. Something to Percy. "We'll do it tonight." When he hurried to the yard. Henry, Gordon, and James were reaching nervously. "Stop that noise," bellowed the fat controller. They won't let us, Gordon." And Sir Topham Hatt realized that Duck and Percy were sitting calmly at the points outside the engine shed, refusing to move. "But these engines are giving us orders. Can you please inform them that we only take orders from you? Duck and Percy, you are causing a disturbance," thundered the fat controller. "And as for you," he said, turning to the big engines, "this is my railway and I give orders." Henry, Gordon, and James were very embarrassed. From that on, Duck worked well at the yard, and the Fat Controller was very pleased with him. One day, Duck was resting in the engine shed when the Fat Controller arrived. Would you like me? Are you okay? Would you like to have a branch line of your own? He asked. Yes, please, sir, Duck replied excitedly, and he took charge of his own branch line, which ran along the coast to himself. So Donald and Douglas took turns helping him. One evening, he was talking to Donald. You don't understand how much that Fat Controller relies on me, said Duck proudly. I'm a great Western and quack, 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 exclaimed Donald. You sound to his driver, and he whispered something to Duck and his driver. That night, when Donald was asleep, Duck's driver and fireman put something into Douglas's tender. The next morning, when Donald stopped for water, he found an unexpected passenger aboard. Out of his water tank, his driver and fireman could hardly believe know who's behind this. He laughed, and Donald told them what had happened in the shed. The duckling was tame. She shared the driver and fireman's sandwiches and rode in the tender. But as the day went on, she grew tired of traveling and hoped off at the station where she stayed. Before they reached home, Donald and his driver and his fireman made a plan. That night, they were very busy, and when Duck's crew arrived in the morning, they made a surprise discovery. Look, Duck, they laughed. There's a nest with an egg in it under your bunker. Donald opened a sleepy eye. Well, well, he explained. You must have lain it in the night. Duck laughed. You win, Donald. It would take a clever engine to get the better of you. Duck and Donald became good friends, and the duckling settled down at the station. She lived in a pond nearby, but she always flew back to the station to welcome the engines. Donald was her favorite, and she sometimes hopped on for a ride. The station master called her Dilly, but to everyone else, she always Donald's duck. The end.